guys, so today I am going to be talking about flight attendant training. If you are watching this video, congratulations, you got the job offer for flight attendant training and I'm super excited for you. And these are some tips that I'm just going to be talking about. I'm not actually going to be talking about everything that happens in training just because privacy and everything like that, and with the airlines it's very difficult to talk about certain things. So I'm just going to be talking about different tips that I picked up through training when I went through training. And without further ado, let's get into this video. They will probably be mailing you a training packet with city codes, a 24-hour clock, and just the required items that you are supposed to bring to training with you. And you need to study the city codes and you need to study the 24-hour clock. There will probably be a pre-test or a test the first day of training, and this is actually a legit test that you need to pass. And so with the city codes, I suggest that you get flashcards so you can have the airport on one side and then the abbreviation on the other, and practice studying those. That's the best way I can suggest it, because looking at a piece of paper with the city codes didn't really help me, and flashcards was all I used in training. First day of training is probably just going to be HR, human resources, and paperwork, and for your benefits, and just a bunch of stuff that isn't really relevant to flight attendant stuff. It's just for the job, and it's just needed because of human resources and things like that. That's usually what the first day is, and then they'll take you on a tour of probably the training building, and they'll just talk about all the different rules that need to be followed in training. The dress code for training is usually business casual, and you need to have your hair beautiful and makeup beautiful, and it just needs to be on point, because if it's not, you could probably go home for it. Going home, that means never coming back to flight attendant training unless if you reapply in 6 months. They can send you home for the smallest thing. If you forget your manual, if you didn't pass a test and you take a retake and then you didn't pass it again, you go home. You only get one retake the entire 4 to 6 weeks on tests, and there are tests 1 to 3 times a week. So the things that I suggest for studying are to bring notebooks, to have flashcards, to have highlighters, to have pens and pencils, and sticky notes. You need to take notes in training. You need to ask questions, or come in before class or stay after class. Also, don't think about training as training. Think about it as going back to school. You need to study every single day, and talking about studying, after training ends, it's probably going to be about 8 hours or so. You need to take about an hour off of just everything that you just learned and exercise, or take a walk, watch TV, do something once you get home, because if you go right into studying, it's not going to help and everything's just going to start blending together. So you need to just relax for about an hour after you come back. Also, bring a water bottle and fill it up with water every single day and drink plenty of water. Don't forget to eat really, really healthy during training, because if you don't, it's just going to start weighing down on you and it's not good. So you need to remain healthy in training and exercise and eating healthy and drinking plenty of water. With tests, you probably need to get a 90% or higher on the test, and like I said, if you fail one, that's fine. You can take a retake, but after that one retake, you're done. You can't retake any more tests, and you're done by they'll send you home. Also, create study groups with your friends. Stay after class to study, or go before school starts. Also with training, you probably will only get a certain amount a day for pay. We got $40 a day for training. Some airlines, they don't pay you during training, so you need to stockpile your money. You need to save your money. You need to be frugal during training. Also with training, sometimes the airline will put you up in a hotel, and sometimes they won't if you don't live in the city. So I was fortunate enough that I lived in the city that we were doing training, and so I went home every night. But some people had to stay in a hotel and pay for their hotel because our airline did not pay for a hotel. Now, other airlines will put you up in a hotel room. Some of it is like apartment style, so you'll get your own room and then have like the common area. But other hotels are just like the two double beds next to each other and one bathroom, and there's two girls or two guys in the rooms. I have heard of that. But with my airline, my second airline, they did not put us up in a hotel. You were on your own if you didn't live in the area. They they you had to pay for it yourself or you had to live there. So it was a little hard for those that didn't live there. With training, it is basically one day of service. So one day we do service standards when we learn how to pour the Coke and serve the snacks and stuff like that. That's it. One day out of 4 to 6 weeks, only learning one day of snacks. That pretty much gives you a idea of what we do in training as far as emergencies and medicals and stuff like that, and all the stuff that we learn during training isn't service. Really hard because that's your job pretty much, is pouring Coke, and or at least that's what everyone thinks it is, but underneath of all of that it is safety, how to evacuate a plane in 90 seconds or less. And I can't get into that just because, again, security and safety reasons, but once you go through training you will understand and you will learn all about that. So yeah, like I said, bring note cards, pens, pencils, highlighters, and a notebook, just so you can take notes. I'm a visual person, so when I take notes and I draw pictures and do all this stuff, that's how I learn. You might be different, but with training, again, it is school. You're going back to school, and if you haven't been in school in a really long time, it might be hard for you. If you are just getting out of school, it will be fairly easy for you because you understand, but with training, it is school. It's basically school, and again, you are not an employee until you graduate, until you get your wings. It's hard for people to understand that when they go through training. Yay, you got the job, congratulations, and that's great, but you're not an employee yet. And so that's why in training you can get kicked out for the smallest things. Anyway, I hope that this was a very semi-helpful video. I can't really go into it, and I know there are some videos on YouTube out there, but this is just my point of view of the training process and all that goes into it. I hope you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!